we respond to negativity way more than we do positivity. We're wired for that, right? And so one of the ways that, like Richard Emmons, the psychologist, found to get past that is a gratitude practice. Because when you're in the emotion and in the practice of being grateful, you supersede the negativity bias, right? So that is one of the tools that I teach with the people that I work with right away, is a gratitude practice, finding a time during the day that you can practice, really being focused on and conscious of what you're grateful for, so that you can start like retraining your brain.
How interesting. Very interesting. And you practicing this. This is what you do every day. This is your job. You work with children now or with adults as well?
Now I work with adults. So thank you for asking. Yes. So I left teaching in 2014 because I really felt a calling to work with adults, and I've worked with adults since 2014 in all areas of. I really got into actually the physical aspect first, really helping people start to reverse chronic diseases, and then moved into more of the emotional state, especially at this time that we're in now, right? We're in this worldwide state of, I like to call it a situation where a lot of us are feeling fear and anxiety and overwhelmed and isolation. And this is the time, especially now, that we dive into these things like a gratitude practice and savoring and doing things to help our emotional state. Because we're in a what would I call it? A deluge of like almost negativity, right? Or in a situation where we've lost our jobs, like you have, right? Or where we don't get to see our family, or we have a family member maybe that fell ill. So yes, it's more important, I think, than ever to be practicing these different techniques that we can use to raise our positivity levels. And I call them a positivity level because happiness and sadness are chemicals, right? So when something happens, chemicals get released. You have a thought, then you have an emotion, your body has a physical reaction. And we have happy chemicals and we have, we'll call them sad chemicals, right? And these chemicals are in our body, they say for 90 seconds, if you don't attach any more stories to them, and then they leave. So what you're trying to increase is your positivity level, right? So your happiness will go up and down depending on what happens during the day, or maybe you might be a little bit sad and then it comes back up, or mad and comes back up. But what you want to raise is that positivity level. So your positivity level is always up here. So even though you're doing this, your balance state is up here. And there are literally tools that you can do, practices that you can have, mindful practices that bring that positivity level higher, and which is different than happiness, because happiness is a chemical, as is sadness, and those go up and down.
Very interesting. I had a question while you were talking. What is happiness for you personally, and how you got to this job? How you got there where you are now?
How do two questions there? Yeah. So
Two in
happiness,
one,
yeah. So I would say happiness is positivity for me, positivity level. And it really is, it's like exercising, for your body. It is practices that I do every day, purposely, intentionally, to keep my mental level at a certain level, right? And for me, it is a gratitude practice, meditation, savoring during the day. And savoring is like, because of the negativity bias that I'm aware that I have, I'm aware that you have, we all have. I find times during the day to savor, really be in the moment, and really be in the happiness of what's happening. For example, in my shower, I savor it, right? It's a space where the warm water is coming down. It feels good. It's warm. It's pleasant. I'm happy. I'm relaxed. And I savor that, right? My beverage in the morning is a coffee, right? And so I like when I'm sitting there and I'm doing my prayers and my thankfulness in the morning, I'm savoring that coffee, right? Um, I'm really, I mean, you can't tell by looking at me, but I'm 53 years old. True story. And I do a lot of things in my life to keep my physical level also up, right? Because our physical bodies do give off chemicals. So I exercise, I drink water, I eat healthy. I'm very careful about like having really good positive social interactions. And so for me, when you say happiness, for me, it's a positivity level, and it's a life long intentional habits that I've incorporated into my life to make sure that my positivity level, just like my physical level, is at a certain level. I don't leave it to chance. It doesn't happen accidentally, right? And then how did I get here? I think that we all have, well, every single one of us has a gift. We were born with a gift to give. And if you look at your life, there's what I call a through line through your life. Like there's a pattern. And from the very beginning, my pattern has always been, and it was in the beginning helping children, and now it's adults, really see the best in themselves, what they're truly capable of. So those troubled children who everyone had written off, I saw in them what they were capable of. And I got them to believe in it themselves, right? And so like that has followed me all the way through. Now I do with adults. Like I can look at anyone, well, all of us, we all are amazing human beings, and we all have a gift to give. And not all of us believe it. Not all of us believe that we have it, but we all do. And so I love like helping people like see that and then give that, right? And be the best version of themselves. And so that is kind of my through line that I've always had, first starting with children, and now I do it with adults. Yeah, so thank you for asking. I've never been asked that question. I enjoy that.
You have some, big dream, something you embodied, you love it, and and you live it. Have you got that? Is it
yeah, I do. I can tell you guys, I'm definitely living the life that I love. My dream has about 5 years ago, I decided I wanted to make an impact on at least 1 million people. And I have, like, I have definitely, I have a best-selling book. It went best-selling internationally in, I think it was 11 countries, 14 categories. I have, I've reached at least that. And that was my dream, because I really believe that we are all here for a purpose. We are all here to help those around us. So, for some people, like they want to reach humanity, all of humanity. For me, it's like one starfish at a time, right? Like one person at a time. It makes me so happy when people realize their self-worth and they're in love with themselves and enrolled in themselves. That is like my biggest I don't call it an aha because it's an aha for them, but my big when it happens, I just like feel so happy. Yeah, because when I can impact one person, for every person that you impact, the statistics show 1,000 people are impacted. So it's like almost exponential.
Butterfly effect, isn't it? Butterfly effect. You touched one and waves going.
Yeah.
Excellent. Would you like to give us anything, something to remember from you? By the way, you did not tell everyone about your gifts because I haven't sent them yet. I will send it after the show. Please tell them about this.
So I'm super, I cannot stress enough gratitude practice, gratitude practice, gratitude practice, right? So the first thing I do with anyone I work with is, do you have a gratitude practice? If you don't, let's set one up. So my gift is called Gratitude Power, and it's an ebook on different types of gratitude practice. So those of you who are like, I don't have time to journal in the morning, or I don't like to write, or whatever it is, there's so many ways that you can practice gratitude. And this is a whole book on the different ways. And some of them include like family. How can you do it with your family, right? Like if you can instill a gratitude practice with your children, wow, like you've won, you're ahead, right? And so like one of them is, for example, I call it the love notebook, and it's in this gratitude book that you'll get as a gift. And what it is you can go out to anywhere, like whatever, like store, and pick up just a regular journal, right? And you set it in your kitchen, usually where most people are tracking. In most families, their kitchen is the number one place that people end up being because the food's there, right? So we're in the kitchen, right? And what you do is you write, the mom, the dad, the daughter, the son, you write kind things to each other in this journal, back and forth. And the thing is that the children get to read what the mom and dad are writing to each other, with the mom and dad can see what the children are writing to each other. And so it's like this family gratitude. And then and the cool thing is, what will happen is a lot of parents at the end of the year will take that journal and they'll create like a book, like, Blessed Family 2021 Love Journal, right? And then Blessed Family 2022 Love Journal, right? And if you do it over the years, you'll see these in the beginning, like scribbles and maybe even like pictures that the little kids draw, all the way up to these paragraphs that your teenagers are doing. And it really exemplifies, especially when there's like, because when you're a family and you're living together, you have those, those little things, those peeves that go on, right? You're irritated about this or that habit, but you have this documentation of love. It's a documentation of love, right? And that's a great way for a family to practice gratitude. And so this book is full of these ideas. So it's not just, just have to journal every night what you're grateful for. You can do these whole family gratitude practices that get the whole family involved. So that's what the gift is. It talks about and shows and demonstrates these different practices.
It's lovely. It's very nice. It's a very good idea altogether. Rebecca, somebody from our listeners, she probably can ask this question by herself. Do you mind I will read her question for you, so you probably will be able to answer. How do you help to motivate someone who is totally stuck and declines all help and support?
That's a good question. They're in a place where they don't believe in themselves, right? And so there's this, and you can look it up. It's called strength-based relationships. And I believe it's VIA.org. And all of us have it. It's Dr. Siegelman and some of his scientists did this study across the entire world, all cultures. And what they found was every single one of us have these character strengths. There's 24 of them. Every single person across the whole world. Some of them are stronger than others, and they're not skills. So it's things like courage. It's things like being able to see beauty in the world. It's things like wisdom. And I do highly recommend everyone go and check it out. You can take a little free assessment, and they'll tell you what your top strengths are. Like mine is gratitude, of course, love, leadership, and fairness. Those are my top 4. And what you do is you compliment the people as much as you can about their strengths. And that's what I do with these children that did not believe in themselves. They did not. They believed that they were bad. They did not want help. They wanted to be angry. They wanted to be destructive. And all I did was compliment them every single second that I could, as small, didn't matter how tiny it was. And I never said anything negative, even though we're wired to see the negative. So Maybe I wanted to say, hey, I mean, you're hitting the, you're whatever you're doing to the kid in front of you. I wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, so for example, let's say, they were rustling around in line. I wouldn't notice that. I would say, I really like the way you pushed your chair in when you got up from your desk. Thank you for being so responsible. You're so responsible. I really appreciate that. So it's finding anything that you can to compliment them on, and often, because those people don't believe in themselves, and so you have to find whatever you can about them that you can compliment, and do it a lot.
We have another 5 minutes, so I would like people to ask. You can write your questions here in the chat, and we can, or you can, we can unmute your microphone, whoever have a question. Yeah, should be reaction somewhere, so, or you can put your hands up. You can ask question. We have 5 minutes for questions and answers. No questions. What is your plan for future? Have you got some interesting plan? Are you writing another book right now?
I've got so much going on. So much going on. Oh yeah. Just so much. I'm always going, doing, creating, making. So yeah, I have a whole list. Just goes, on and on and on and on. But since we have 4 more minutes, one of the things that I'd really like to say to everyone is that I really do like okay. If you read my book, it's called Ignite Happiness. I wasn't always like, I went through a dark period. So I'm not like, oh yeah, but you don't understand me. You don't get it. You seem like a happy person, right? So going back to teaching, when I left teaching, there was a period in my life where I was divorcing, and my school is going through a strike. And so if you know anything about strikes, they're very ugly. It's very legal. And it was a very dark time in my life. And I remember I was in the shower, and I cried a lot in the shower because my kids were little. I didn't want them to hear me crying, right? Because you're the mom, you have to be strong. I'm in the shower crying, and so they can't hear me. And I remember wanting a get out of life card, like thinking, like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this. Like, this is. Yet I had all this experience behind me, all this education behind me. I knew what I should do, right? And I had been this happy person, and I went through this traumatic experience. Like, at the same time, my whole life is crumbling. I'm no longer this beloved teacher. I'm this criminal, basically, is how I got painted during the strike. My husband and I are divorcing. I'm no longer a wife. Like, my identity is crumbling. I'm crying. I'm thinking, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I thought to myself, and this is really powerful, and I want everyone to hear this. No one's coming to save you, Rebecca. No one's coming to save you. Like, if you want to get out of this and you want to get back to the happiness or the positivity level, like, you have to do this yourself. Like, and you know what to do, right? You know what to do. Like, about gratitude. About like making sure physically you're taking care of yourself. About like meditation. About mindful practices. And so what I'd like to say to everyone out there is, like, I have been there. I know what it's like to be in that place. And you can, and you have the power within you to change that, right? And if you're here, right? If you're here on this talk right now, like, you have our wonderful host here who's putting this on for you, who's allowing these expert speakers to come and give you like ideas and also gifts. She has all these gifts for you. There are things that you can do, and you can change where you're at. And I went from where I was then to where I am now, which is really living the life of my dreams as far as every aspect of it, relationships, finances, health, all of it. And it really is up to each one of us individually, right? It has to happen from inside out. So it's not going to happen out there. It's going to happen in here. And when you change in here, then out there changes as well. So that's what I would leave us all with.
to clarify. So when you feel yourself in the complete corner, and then you have to find it within you, very strong desire to change things, correct? And you found it.
Correct.
You did find
Yeah,
it.
and I did find it. And there's tools that you can use, right? And these are some of the tools that your speakers are bringing to, to the people who are listening, and gratitude is one of them. It's one of the tools that we can all use.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
coming
you.
here live so late in your place. Please stay with us. It will be nice, beautiful music right after you. So please listen. We will call Marina now to sing for us.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Marina, are you there? Here she is. Yes,
of course I am.
Marinchka, we have now time to talk a little bit. It's up to you. I will introduce Marina to everybody first because not everybody know Marina. Marina is our singer and songwriter with a few chart-topping albums. She inspires people to pick up their passion and pursue their dreams. And I leave you with this because she has a little story to tell. Up to her when she wants to tell it, after first song or before the first song. Up to you, Marina.
Thank you so much, Olga. Happiness as a topic is an interesting one. And listening to Rebecca, I picked up on a few things. And I guess one of them was gratitude. And in times when you are so low that you have no way out, and I can speak because I'm not a psychologist, but I can speak from my experience. In the time when you are in such a low point that you don't know how to get to the feeling of love, that love when you are in love with life, to get there, the only way is really through gratitude. Because gratitude is something your brain can pick up on. It can kind of get enrolled into that concept. Yes, you can be happy. You can be grateful for the fresh air, anything. You can always find something. But to get straight from very low to love is almost impossible sometimes. So I was at that point in my life a couple of years ago where I was driving to work and I hated going there because I had a boss who really didn't empower me, put it this way. And so she made my life miserable every day in different ways, and so I loved my job, but I couldn't stand that person. And at some point I was so depressed going back home that I just thought, why is it that I allow this person to have such an impact on my life? Why is it that I leave it up to her of how I feel? What is it? What is this power that she has? And I thought, I must be able to do this independent. I must be able to separate myself from everything and go, no, this is what's happening. And this is me and my happiness. Can I do this? And so I realized that I should be able to do this. And I started with gratitude, and I would drive to work and I'd be like, I have to start being grateful. And I even made myself a song that I would sing to call for happiness, to summon happiness into my life. And I would call on that feeling through this song. And the song that I created had this really sort of jazzy feel to it, and I would drive and I would sing it. And then last year, when the Christmas was coming and I was preparing my album for release, I thought, if I was to give people a present, this would be the present that I would love to give them, as the song. And I'm going to sing it for you now, and it's called In Love with Life. And if you feel down, you can always play it, because it did help me. And within a few weeks of this exercise of listening to singing this song to myself and really raising my mood, I was moved to another project, and I got myself the best job that I still am in, that I could wish for. So I really saw the effect of that. And you could believe or not believe, and that circumstances change according to how you feel. But it certainly, for me, it's a miracle song. I hope it will be there for you. So, In Love with Life. I'm in love. I'm in love with the light. And while the people are walking by, I'm in the clouds above. And I'm happy 'cause I've got what I've got. And I'm happy 'cause I've lost what I've lost. And I'm blessed because I'm in love with life. I'm in love. I'm in love with life. And if you smile, it makes it easy to feel the love inside. And I am happy 'cause I've got what I've got. And I'm happy 'cause I've lost what I've lost. And I'm blessed because I'm alive. You can dance with me. Moving your body is always good. Even in your seats. Let me see. I'm looking. Oh, very good. Da, 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 da. And I'm happy 'cause I've got what I've got. And I'm happy 'cause I've lost what I've lost. And I'm free because I'm in love with life. Something like that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, so that's a little piece for you.
Marina, you can
So
have
shall
an-
I?
Yes, you can continue
Yes.
with your second composition.
All right. So shall I say a little bit,
Yes,
a bit
please.
more?
Yes, please.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate that. So you obviously can hear the song on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. So I'm on all platforms, and this is my latest album called Bloom, and the song from that album. And you know what I also found? I've been listening to a lot of psychologists who deal with physical body, like what is it? Where do our emotions go, and what happens? And I found that a lot of the time, situations that we get to cause emotions that then get stuck in our bodies. And that's what these psychologists are saying, that literally the emotions are getting stuck. And sometimes you actually can feel it in your back or wherever, it's like this, it's trapped in your body. And that physical exercise, as Rebecca was talking about before, it's the way for us to actually move our body and to get all this out of ourselves. Because what happens if you don't actually do that, if you don't move your body enough and start bringing that, we know about endorphins, that they're caused, by physical exercise. But think about that. It's not just the way the emotions are impacting us by going in. It's also the emotions that get trapped can actually influence what you're doing. So sometimes you would, because you are so, those emotions are stuck, it even demotivates you to, to even like do something or eat healthy. So it kind of has the other effect, the other way as well. So that's why, that is a really interesting topic for me. And I'm on Clubhouse all the time talking about these things with people. So if you're on Clubhouse, please join me. I would love to meet you. And the other thing I wanted to say is that, for me in my life, and I've come from Russia, and I've lived in Russia until I was 21. And then I went to London and came to New Zealand. For me, I've always wanted to find a sense of belonging somewhere. And what I realized is that if you create something that's bigger than yourself, and what Ola is doing, something that's bigger than yourself, you're actually creating that sense of belonging that will never go away. You can always bring it with you. It's you. So that is fantastic, because these things are calling you into the being. You have to show up. And that nobody can take away from you. You're not placing your happiness on things or people or something, And I loved what Rebecca said about the level of happiness, because the higher this level is, the harder it's to kick you out of that. It's hard, so people who are on a very low level of this positiveness, you probably know these people. They're very annoyed all the time. They're very annoyed, and little things can get them out. I had a guest the other day who couldn't get the stove working, and he almost broke a pot. He was so angry. And I was like, whoa, we can't allow ourselves to go down to that level of positivity. We're gonna keep that up. And so doing things like exercising and singing and, bringing this, whatever gives you joy, make sure you do that. Do that for yourself, do that for other people around you. So talking about music, I find that, a creative process can sometimes be a great way to transform your emotions as well. So talking about, how do we come out of this unhappy feeling into another realm? So creativity and songwriting and whatever you do, you could be a spoken word, it could do whatever. But if you could channel that into a song or into some creative process, whether it's a piece of art or something, that can really create a piece of art. I'm not claiming it with this next song, but it certainly came out of some experience that I transformed. This song is called Your Guitar. It's also in a little jazzy number. I just thought for our vibe, jazz is pretty good. And so this Your Guitar is what the song that comes out of a relationship when a woman is not treated well. All right, Your Guitar. I've never felt this way so far. You treat me like I'm your guitar. You take me when you wanna play, and when you're done, I'm put away. Your hands are gentle, words are sweet. Your smile is mesmerizing me. Inside the darkness of your eyes, there is a devil in disguise. And I dream of blue skies, oh, and I cry every night. There are no hard feelings, no regret. When I'm not there, you forget. The silence killing me inside. why, 'cause there's too much space between the lines. This love on tap is not my style. I let you play me for a while. I leave my keys behind the door. Oh, you won't be strumming anymore. And I feel so satisfied. And I know I'll be alright. It'll be alright. There is a music in my heart that I would never play to you, and I would never ever let you in here. One day you're gonna find out that your guitar has disappeared. That's it. The song is always finishes like that. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so you can see how you can take that emotion that wasn't so nice and then turn it into a song, and then he always wonders if that was about him. Yes, it was. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
that's all
We
good.
enjoyed
That's all
that.
good.
Please stay for our next speaker.
Thank you.
He's coming in a few minutes.
Excellent.
And before he came, I wanted to talk to all of you and ask you, please be active on the chat, in the chat here, because each of our experts prepared gifts for you. And I wanted to have a little quiz, because the more active you are here in the chat, the more you remember from each speaker. So it's good for you, good for us, good for speakers. So just write what most impactful thought still with you after you've heard Rebecca today. What tools will you personally use? Just a few words, because every speaker prepared the gift for you, and he will choose the most expensive gift to the most active person. Okay, and you can work a little bit on this homework while I'm find and present you another speaker, because I have another speaker lives in Switzerland. It's Ivan Martin, and he is French Kiwi, born in Wellington, and he is an ancient Buddhist who been for 6 years in meditation retreat, practicing and studying full-time with some of the greatest lamas of our time. So his inspiration is to bring a different perspective to our possibilities for conscious happiness. Okay, you will hear what he is saying about himself in a minute. You have a couple of minutes to write a few words in the chat while I will share my screen with you.
Whenever you're ready. Oh, me too.
Hello, my friends.
Let's record.
Hello,
Ilya.
I would like to welcome Ivan Martin to our show. I would like to give him very little introduction, if you don't mind, because one phrase on your website I really loved. So I would like to give it to our
Go ahead, you feel
viewers.
free.